All right, welcome to the relationship show. This woman writes this post advice for a 32-year-old virgin. She says a combination of being overweight and from teenage years on, severe anxiety disorder, and being homeschooled has resulted in me having zero dating experience at 32. I didn't start driving until I was 27, lived at home for a long time until my mom passed away from the big C. And honestly, I was overweight and socially anxious, and I'm still those things to an extent. And didn't want to date slash didn't feel beautiful enough to think anyone would find me attractive. Now that I've got my life together, I find myself yearning for the companionship and love my married friends have. What is she doing right now? It's like she's comparing. It's like she's comparing. And when we get in these like comparison traps, no matter whether it's like comparing like a product or comparing like yourself to someone else, it's like whenever we're in this comparing situation, we're not content. And we're not content, we're not happy. And it's like, it's not to say that comparing isn't useful and comparing can actually drive you to become better, but it will not make you happy. And it's like when we start comparing ourselves to others, it's almost like a trap, if you will. It's like we can always find someone that's better. And so we can always find a way to kind of put ourselves down. And especially if we come from a place where we don't believe that we can succeed, which could be the case with this woman right here, is that she's never done it before, and she might not believe that she can succeed, fully. Um, and so she can find a way to figure out like what's wrong with her. And it's like that's just a not a very effective strategy and pattern of thinking to go about, but it's very difficult to do when you've never had success before, or you've been sheltered, if you will, a little bit with your life. um, but one of the great things is if you have like situations, it's like you'll find that some of the best like people at their trade or people who show like a lot of confidence, it's like they had to work very hard to get that. And so it's like oftentimes what you'll see is those people with the most confidence often started from the lowest points. And it's like they were at a point where they just said enough, and then they just made this shift and their standards changed within themselves and who they're going to become, and they just started making progress, and they just continued and continued and continued until they were at this level of confidence that you see now, that's such a confident person. So oftentimes it's like if people are just like average and they are confident enough to get by, it's like that's not enough. That's like the biggest danger zone, if you will, is like contentment. If you're content with what, like average results, average this, average that, average life, average income, it's like it's not enough to motivate you to really get into that pattern of growth. But if you can start from a standpoint like where you're starting, it's like you haven't had this experience, everyone else is succeeding except for you, seemingly. Um, you feel like you are not attractive, that you're overweight and you have anxiety. And it's like, well, you can use these, you can start from where you're at right now, and then you can say enough. And then you can start making progress and progress and progress. And eventually you will become someone who has that massive confidence that you look to and you admire. Um, she says, and didn't want to date slash didn't feel beautiful enough, yeah, okay, to think anyone would find me attractive. Now that I've got my life together, I find myself yearning for the companionship and love my married friends have. I'm the odd one out. Everyone I know has someone. It's like everyone. It's like, so it's like now she's conveying like making it worse than it is. It's just a human thing people do. It's like when things don't go our way, it's like we make them worse than it is. Or sometimes when it's going good, we see it better than it is. Um, some of them have kids. I'm alone. Comparison again. They have kids. I'm alone. They have someone. I'm alone. I'd like to change this. I've lost 85 pounds in the last year. That's amazing. Um, and so she did that. She did that. She started from that low position and then she worked her way up. And look what she did. 85 pounds. That's a massive amount of number. That's a massive amount of work and strength that it took to pick that discipline. She says, and I'm not stopping there and I'm feeling more confident. I'm going to pause the video right now. Come right back. All right, she says, I've lost 85 pounds in the last year and I'm not stopping there and I'm feeling more confident. I mean, that right out there, 85 pounds in 1 year requires just a complete identity shift. I mean, that is a lot of weight and that is a lot of dedication, discipline, and commitment. So I really commend her for that. Really just turning her life around, just saying enough. She says, however, I need an emotional connection to someone in order to be sexually attracted to them. Yeah, it's like the quote, like women need to feel loved to have sex and men need to have sex to feel loved. It's like that's seemingly like a natural thing for you to experience. Like you want an emotional connection with a person. You want to, feel cared about. It's not just about the action of sex. Um, she says on the asexual spectrum. I mean, it's tough to judge that. And it's like, just because you are a virgin doesn't mean like you're asexual or anything like that. It's like that, well, you just don't have experience. Um, she says, and I'm not sure how to tell people I have zero dating / sexual experience. I try not to beat myself up. I wouldn't even. I mean, if it's about to happen, like if sex is about to happen, you might, mention that you're a virgin and just kind of, take it easy or take it carefully. But I don't think you really need to, bring up your past experiences with relationships. And probably it's advised not to, just with really anyone as well. It's not about, because if you go on a date and you're talking about your ex, it's like, how does that make the other person feel? Or you talk bad about other people that you've dated. How does that make the other person feel? Well, that if you two have some struggles, then you might talk bad about her. Or if the other way around, it's like if you're talking good about your ex, it's like, well, why don't you, she's probably thinking like, or the other person's probably thinking like, oh, why don't you just go back to your ex then? So it's like almost leave that like past relationship experiences as more of like a mystery, if you will. She says, I try not to beat myself up. That's a huge thing as far as getting up. It's like sometimes we falter, sometimes we fail. Um, like for instance, like with her, I mean, it's like I'm sure there was times where she didn't want to, go to the gym, or sometimes that she actually missed a gym session maybe at the beginning. It's like if you beat yourself up in those situations, it just basically drains your energy and it drains your ability to get up another time. It's like you have to be like approach situations and going through difficult things or going through difficult tasks, whether it be losing weight or learning about relationships. It's like if you miss a day, it's like, okay, well, I missed a day. Well, tomorrow's another day. It's like you have to have that kind of attitude. And it's not always easy. It takes some resourcefulness from yourself. But it's like if you can do that and eliminate just beating yourself up, it will eliminate basically the self-destruction, if you will, of really zapping your own energy. Um, she says, but I feel like a loser. And I'm scared I'm going to end up a literal 40-year-old virgin. And so what is she doing again? She's looking at like labels. It's like, oh, if I become this label, then that's bad. If I become this label, then that's bad. She's looking at other experiences and other people, really labeling them. It's like, but the idea of hooking up with random guys makes me cringe. So yeah, you don't have to focus on that. It's like if you're scared, yeah, you don't want to come from a place of being scared that you'll be labeled something. And if you're scared you'll be labeled something, then it's like you take action that you don't really is congruent with how you feel. So it's like, just focus on how you feel, and then meeting people. Um, I know it can seem very hard, like getting into it, and it can seem very daunting, and there's so many like things, but it's just, if you could just chunk it into a few different things, it's just like, if you can show up in a positive attitude, from her perspective, and just have fun, that's like, chunk it into that instead of just having all these steps, like, oh, I have to do this, I have to talk the right way, I have to dress the right way, speak the right way, this. It's like when we get chunking in like all these little tasks we have to do, it almost makes it, well, it does, it makes it more difficult to do, and makes it difficult to um, execute. And you probably realize that with the gym as well. It's like, probably at the start when you started getting in shape, it was like, oh, I have to do this, I have to go, park the car, I have to get a gym membership, I have to sign all the paperwork, I have to um, get a key card, take my picture, I have to, go to the locker room, change, find a lock, because there's like, it might get, my stuff might get stolen, get a water bottle, get clothes, get, find a gym partner, find a coach, find this, and then keeps going, and this huge list. And it's like, if you have this huge list, it becomes overwhelming. Instead of just like, I'm going to the gym and I'm going to work out, done. It's like, I might have like this muscle group I'm doing, okay, go. That's it. It's like one step, two steps. And so if you can do that with dating as well, it's like, so many people get caught up in this trap, and I see it just over and over again. It's like, they think that they have to do something, they think that they have to like get her to be their friend first, and then for another thing to progress, and another thing to progress, just like the gym thing. It's like, oh, I have to do this, and this huge list, and then it just becomes like, they take it too seriously, it gets overwhelming, and they don't execute. It's like, if you want to like, I teach just like, in getting to a date in as few steps as possible. So it's like 1 to 2 steps. It's like, immediately set the date when you're talking to her, like initially, or you get her phone number and then call her and set a date. It's like 2 steps. That's it. And so you want to make it, the fewer steps, the easier it is to execute. And I'm scared. Yeah, okay. But the idea, oh yeah, okay. So here we are. I'm aware that people my age have a lot of experience under their belts. She's 32. Maybe some people do, but I think you'd be surprised that a lot of people don't. But how do I bring this stuff up? Currently trying out online dating. Okay, you're taking some action without sounding like a loser or a prude. You don't have to bring it up. Maybe you will, and like, if you're about ready to have sex. But other than that, I mean, you don't really have to. And so I think you made a huge step, and you're doing great. You just completely transformed your body with losing 85 pounds. You have decided, you have committed. There has been a shift in your mindset. You basically said no more. And right now what are you doing as well? It's like, you're taking action. Now you just got on online dating. Now you have more confidence in your body and how you look. And when you have those confidence, it's like, you act and put yourself in situations where you can succeed. And so it's like, your belief shifts, if you will. And it's like, you've done that already, you making the first step. And so it's almost like, just replicate what you're doing with your fitness into relationships. It's like, just make it so you can do it every day, as far as improving every day in relationships. And just like, eventually what you'll see is like, these fears you have of like telling people that you're a virgin, or that you're not experienced, or you've been homeschooled for your whole life and been sheltered. It's like, once you get in the game of dating, it's like, well, you'll realize that none of that really matters. And so all those fears will just go away. So just keep going. You're doing great. And yeah, keep it up.